Hey man, what it is? This is Deem, and I am your host, and this is by any means necessary. There go to Cash App, $Dean by any means. There go to PayPal, at Dean by any means. You already know what I'm about to say. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It is much, much, much appreciated. To everybody that been showing love in the Cash App and sending super chats, y'all amazing. Everybody who be hitting that like button, you're amazing. All the haters and the eavesdroppers, I'll pray for you. You hear what I'm saying? We gotta talk about it, man. Brian Norman Jr. ducks Jaron Ennis. Yeah, let me sip on this Chick-fil-A lemonade real quick. Ah. Brian Norman Jr. ducks Jaron Ennis. Again, Jaron Ennis is literally the only fighter in boxing that we have documented and know for an actual fact. There is no guess, there is no argument that he is being ducked by every other champion in their division. He's the only fighter in boxing that we could say that about. But we still find a way to criticize Jaron Ennis. Tell him the other guy's not going to fight you, so you got to do X, Y, and Z. But when every other fighter get ducked, y'all put it on the people that's ducking them. Jaron Ennis get ducked, and it's Jaron Ennis' fault. It's amazing to me, man. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. It is purely amazing to me that that's the situation. But y'all claim y'all love boxing so much. Y'all claim y'all care about the sport. Y'all claim y'all care about making the sport better. But then a fighter like Jaron Ennis can continue to get ducked, and in order to protect Bud Crawford or to protect other people's images, y'all sit up there and criticize this man that has done nothing wrong. All he's tried to do is do exactly what every fighter should be trying to do. Be undisputed in their weight division, fight other champions. Jaron Ennis does what we ask fighters to do. And he get criticized for it. This is amazing, y'all. This is what boxing has truly come to. And I get it, y'all, because it ain't really about the best fighters fighting the best. It's not about that. It's about y'all protecting y'all narratives and certain fighters. Certain fighters, things are allowed to happen. Other fighters, is not allowed to happen. Certain fighters, if they get ducked, we make a big hoopla about it. Jaron Ennis get ducked and nobody says nothing. They don't care. You know what y'all say to Jaron when he get ducked? He got to move up to a different weight division. David Benavidez get ducked and go to a different weight division, and y'all criticize David Benavidez for going to a different weight division. It's funny. Canelo Alvarez can cherry pick fights. And people will still tell David Benavidez what he got to do. Jaron Ennis is literally getting ducked. That Amontes Stanionis, Mario Barrios, Brian Norman Jr. And the funny thing is, everybody keeps saying, go to 154. I'm not sure that Sebastian Fundora or who's these big names at 154 y'all talking about. It's only Bud. All he got to do is wait for Bud to get the IBF, and there you go. Who is he such in a rush to go to 154 for? Because all of those guys at 154, y'all, that y'all failed to mention, they all already have fights. I forgot to put that out there too. Tim Tszyu already has a fight. So does Sebastian Fundora. Only one that don't got a fight is Terence Crawford, and that's the guy that they said that Jaron said he'd go up to 154 to fight. But y'all want Jaron Ennis to do all this extra stuff to fight Bud Crawford instead of going directly to Bud Crawford when that's literally Bud Crawford's biggest fight right at this moment, monetary wise and legacy wise. I'm tired of y'all lying and saying that he don't do nothing for Terence Crawford. Yes, he does. He boosts his legacy. There's not one fighter you can fight that'll boost your legacy more than fighting Jaron Ennis. So stop saying Jaron Ennis don't bring nothing to Terence Crawford legacy-wise when Jaron Ennis is probably the best fighter that Terence Crawford has ever faced. That's what he brings, being the best fighter that you've ever faced. That's what he brings. Name me the last fighter that Terence Crawford has fought that was in his prime. And if y'all say Madrimov, I'm going to throw this goddamn device. If y'all say Madrimov, I'm going to throw this device. So Madrimov is in his prime with 11 fights. Professionals is much different than amateurs. I don't care how many amateur fights you have. It is not the same thing. Professional and amateur is not the same thing on any level, on anything, in any professional level sport. I don't care what it is. It's not the same thing. It's not. If that's the case, everybody that dominates amateurs will go on and dominate the pros. Actually, a lot of the people who dominate amateurs don't go up and dominate the pros. Stop talking about amateurs. Brian Norman needs to be ashamed of himself. Amantis Stanionis need to be ashamed. He really need to be ashamed of himself. Mario Barrios needs to be ashamed of himself. And I guarantee they all will fight each other before they'll fight Jaron. But Jaron Ennis is the guy that get criticized for getting ducked. Shakur Stevenson get ducked. Everybody make a hoopla about it. Devin Haney get ducked. Make a hoopla about it. Jaron Ennis get ducked. Y'all tell him he got to go to 154. So those guys up there can duck him. See, y'all are convinced that guys at 154 will fight him. I'm not convinced of that neither. What proof of that do you have? What proof of that do you have that if he goes to 154, he's going to just get all these fights? He should be wishing on a star. He should wish on a star, shouldn't he? That's what y'all want him to do? You sure Sebastian Fundora will fight him? Well, you're not even sure Sebastian Fundora will fight Bud Crawford. How you know you'll fight Jaron Ennis? Just a question. Just a question. Guys at 154 don't duck. So I guess once you get to the 154 division, people just don't duck. Those fighters up there go by a different creed. Yeah, whatever. Y'all just talking, y'all. It makes absolutely no sense. Sebastian Fundora is not no bigger of a fighter than Mario Barrios is. Actually, I believe way more people know who Mario Barrios is than Sebastian Fundora. That is a fact. Just is what it is. There's not no big gap between Mario Barrios, Amantis Stanionis, and Brian Norman Jr. With Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora, and what's the other boy name that I can't even think of his name? The boy that Tim Tszyu is about to fight. There is no, I don't even know his name like that. Murtazaliev. There you go. Murtazaliev. There ain't no big difference, y'all. There's literally not. I believe if Jaron Ennis was up there, they would be ducking them too. Because you let Terrence Crawford fans tell it, they ducking Bud right now. Al Heyman trying to freeze them out. Well, I can say the same thing about Jaron Ennis because Amantis Stanionis and Mario Barrios are with PBC, and Jaron actually wanted to sign with PBC and couldn't because they wouldn't know none of the 147 pounders fight him. So how I know the PBC 154 pounders will fight him? How I know that? They talking about Earl Smith retiring. You heard Sebastian Fundora say he'll fight Jaron Ennis? You heard Tim Tszyu say it? What about Murtazaliev? Have they said it? Then y'all say he could go to 154 and get better fights. Nah, he want to go to 154 to get the best fight. He could just wait till Bud get the IBF and then challenge him because he's the 147 champion. Same way Teofimo Lopez was going to do Brian Norman Jr. So Brian Norman Jr. will fight Teofimo Lopez, but not Jaron Ennis. It all makes sense, man. And I was becoming a Brian Norman Jr. fan. Can't now. You duck smoke immediately. Jaron Ennis was so disappointed. See, this is the part I keep telling y'all. Whether you're the A side or not, you cannot make B sides fight you. If that was the case, Jaron Ennis would already fought Amantis Stanionis, Mario Barrios, Brian Norman Jr. So stop talking about send contracts and all of this stuff, y'all. Send the contract. If being the A side matter, then Jaron Ennis would be able to get the fights he wants. But he's going to get criticized. Jaron Ennis, if things would have went how they supposed to, Jaron Ennis should have had a unification bout last year. That's number one. And you know, they was trying to keep him on hold and on ice. And he could have already been fighting twice this year for the other belts. He'd have been undisputed by the end of 2024. Y'all, he wasn't going to fight Bud in 2024 anyway. If y'all think that Jaron Ennis going to 154 is going to make Terrence Crawford fight him, you're an idiot. And I've been known you're an idiot. Did Terrence Crawford say that? Did Terrence Crawford say the reason why he's not going to fight Jaron Ennis has anything to do with the weight class? Don't start talking for the man and lying for him because he didn't say any of that. He said he don't bring nothing to the table. I'm looking around. Name me a bigger fight for Terrence Crawford, monetary-wise, because he's just coming off a flop. So y'all mean to tell me y'all don't think Jaron Ennis versus Terence Crawford do more than 100,000 pay-per-view buys? Y'all don't think that. Y'all don't think that card would have done better if Jaron Ennis and Terence Crawford was the main event with that stacked undercard. Y'all don't believe that. So y'all believe Madrimov is just as big as Jaron Ennis in America at that. That's what you believe? I don't believe that. Actually, I know it's not true. But again, y'all gonna find a way to blame Jaron Ennis. But meanwhile, I'll take up for Shakur Stevenson, the other guy y'all say everybody ducking. He could fight whoever. Y'all don't care who he fights. He ain't got to move to different weight divisions or nothing to get big names. He ain't fighting Tank. Y'all ain't telling him to go fight Devin. Y'all ain't telling him to go fight T.O. Y'all ain't telling him to do any of that. He just staying busy. So I guess it's okay for Jaron to stay busy. I guess it's okay. Kukandajic is better than we know who Kukandajic is. We did not know who Corona was. Just saying. And he at least he went 12 rounds with that fight. And they were sitting up there talking about he needed to get his get back with that fight because that was his worst performance. That's why Jaron Ennis would fight him again if he did. Because people were saying that was his worst performance and he didn't know how to cut off the ring. So at least they got his storyline to it. Oh yeah, yo, I bet you Jaron Ennis won't be the co-main with that fight neither. But we take up for people who get ducked as well, but then they just fight whoever. We take up for them and become co-mains, and that's perfectly fine. Yep, so it's a beneficial today. Jaron Ennis has been ducked by everybody in the weight division, literally. And I believe he will be ducked at 154 too. I'm not convinced if he move up to 154, any of those guys are going to fight him. You're convinced of that. I'm not. We're not even sure if we're going to see Errol Spence and Bud. We're not even sure if Bud's going to get the fight, let alone but Jaron Ennis is. Our arguments work against you, Papa. Terence Crawford's not sure if he could get the fights. But Jaron Ennis is going to move up to 154 and get all the fights he wants when Terence Crawford already said he's not fighting him. Y'all know what this is, though, right? Ding, buy, any, means. And I'll holla at y'all.